that Chime can take it as well. So I think when TSM draft, they always try to draft as many flex picks as they can and then kind of figure out where to go from there. And obviously, when you see Rell, you're also thinking Rakan. It's a very high prio bot lane for both these teams, and that's what I'm expecting them to do.
Yeah, I like it for two reasons. Both because the Xayah is so good with counter engage, but also breaking up the Rakan plus Rell engage. Chime and Bugi together, the wombo combo of engages they got were just very, very impressive. So nice little, I think, answer here from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, remember that in game number 1, it was the Rell plus Rakan first rotation for TSM on the red side, and then finishing it out with the Xayah in that first half of the draft. Let's see how TSM wants to go now that they've had those 2 picks that they got in game 1 denied from them.
I think top and AD carry makes the most sense to pick here for TSM, so they can hold their Rell flex. And also, I think Hauntzer doesn't have a lot of crazy counter picks in general. I think for him picking something like Renekton or Rumble makes a lot of sense. So if I'm TSM, that's what I'm looking for, and they obviously lock in the Jinx as well.
Yeah, very quick here for WildTurtle. Definitely one of his preferred AD carries.
Yeah.
With the Jinx, very good at sniping with the skill shots as well as carrying those team fights for later. I'm very curious here. Okay, we got the Sejuani lock in early, so they do secure jungle first here for Sheiden. They definitely want him to have a comfortable champion for himself and to be the main engage.
Yeah, now with the Sejuani already locked in, I think Revenge is going to look for a melee counter into the Rumble. Something like the Yone or something along those lines, maybe even Aurelia, and then kind of save mid for last for Jojopyun. And you can look for something like a Sylas or something else that synergizes with Sejuani. So I think it's a very smart draft adaptation here from EG.
If you're TSM, do you want to ban out those things? Well, okay, I guess I don't even get to finish asking the question because TSM has said, yes, we do want to ban out those melee counter options. The Yone taken off the table as EG have said, you know what? We saw the Lucian one time. We don't want to see it again.
Yep. There's a lot of 2v2s that you can take to duel up on top side too with the Sejuani. So we'll see how deep Revenge wants to go in his champion pool. Obviously, Revenge is like a legacy Riven player, has a whole bunch of different ones. His most played in professional play is Aatrox, and Aatrox got big buffs on this patch. AD Aatrox at least. So we'll see what they go to. The Cassio going to remain banned here against Insanity. They do not want to let him get his hands on that again.
Yeah, and that's the Sylas as well that I mentioned. I think it's just a really strong pairing with Sejuani and probably good into what Insanity wants to pick as well. I'm not sure what Insanity wants to look for right now. I think they want some more kind of... I don't think this champ is pickable, right?
It's not pickable. It's a little...
You're not allowed to actually lock it in, but you can hover it, I guess.
But it would be pretty good with the Sejuani. I have to say, the champion right now is in quite a healthy state, I guess we'll say. Jojo, I mean... the Ahri is for sure just comfort, you know, always going right back to this. So he's very comfortable blind picking this.
Yeah, and I think after Sylas is out, maybe he's just saying that it's the best Premier pick left up for him. And they're kind of... It's kind of interesting because I think this also says that the Rumble is a flex for TSM. Otherwise, it would make way more sense that they save mid for 5 for EG. But I think they're kind of double flexing the Rell and the Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, Insanity really loves anything pushing hard in mid lane. So mid Rumble definitely would be viable there too. And they go with the Thresh, so it is going to be, again, Bugi, the Rell here. The Rell jungle did do a lot as far as the engage for this team. I think they need a little bit more security. Chime like shouting out his own name.
Yeah, I think something like Azir or kind of a good front-to-back champion would be good here. I haven't seen Insanity play a lot of Azir, so he's going for the Lissandra instead.
Okay.
Kind of like a wombo combo team here.
Ooh, also, the quality of life changes for Lissandra on this patch were pretty power positive. The passive getting a big bonus, so they actually have multiple reset values now. If you get a first kill, you get a Thrall from Lissandra to explode, plus you get Jinx to get excited. And I feel like they have a lot of possibility of going for that burst 1 kill, get those Lissandra ghosts roaming around, exploding. They now chase you into brush as well as not stopping or pausing. But here's our counter pick. We're talking about Revenge having so many melee champs you can play on top side to try and play with the Sejuani. And it goes with the Jax, the big carry.
All right, we at least get to see that melee matchup into the Rumble. And hey, a reminder to everybody out there, tickets are officially on sale for the LCS Championship in Newark, New Jersey on August 19th and 20th. It's not that far away now. Head on over to Ticketmaster.com right now to claim your spot, and hopefully we'll get to see you there. We might see these teams there. It just depends on who can make the run, come out on top in these best of 5s. I love when we go from best of 1s to BO5s, getting to see the adaptations from draft to draft.
Definitely could work quite well into it.
Yeah, I think he just saw a lot of melee / close range champs on EG, and he was like, I think Lissandra is a good pick here. I would look for something like Cassio or Azir. Cassio is already banned, so Azir would be my option, I think.
I also always specifically love it into Rakan. Rakan is one of those hard engaged champs that you can actually focus and blow up when he's trying to come in. If you can mark the Rakan on the flank, and if you are able to catch Eyla, just boom, completely burst that Rakan down, you deny the engage, and you get your resets for your team comp.
Yeah, and even with Merc Treads on Rakan and unflinching, it's not enough to stop you from clicking R, then W, and then a hook comes in. There's always something else to follow it up with as well, so it is definitely annoying to play against Lissandra as Rakan.
So let me ask you this, Treatz. Looking at both of these lineups, if you had to play one of the roles, either the Thresh or the Rakan, which one would you think is the more favorable here?
I think Rakan is a pretty easy job this game. I think in general, EG's comp is kind of just, they're very good at absorbing a lot of pressure. They can take a lot of pressure and then counteract. So I think I would prefer to be Rakan. I think Thresh has a pretty tricky job this game, to be honest. I think he's kind of on Jack Spiel duty for WildTurtle. He's just gonna flame away every time he jumps in. I think that's kind of the extent of his job in this game.
Well, I'm definitely got my eyes on Jojo to bounce back after game number 1, and I expect him to be ready for TSM to continue pressuring him. It's like you said in game number 1, Kobe, the guy has the highest jungle proximity for the enemy junglers, so they need to be ready to play around him and support him a little bit more, I think. Otherwise, Bugi and Insanity could just run away with the game again.
And they've got a kind of a deep ward up here too, so they know they can surmise the Sejuani starting on bottom side, so already getting a little bit of info.
And as we've got our level 1 trades underway already, it's time to toss things down to Gabby for another sideline interview, this time with EG coach Kelsey Moser.
That's right. I've got Kelsey. This time around, Evil Genius is going to red side. Can you tell me about some of the adaptation from game 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think I knew there was a possibility they could go row Rakan. We thought there was a decent chance that we could play into it. I just think that, you know, there were some situations that we didn't react well to. So, you know, I still said, okay, you know, adapt, new draft, shake it off. We won't play into that again, and we went red so that they can't get that combo again. So yeah.
When it comes to shaking it off, can you tell me a bit about the mindset of everyone? I kind of heard Sheiden saying more words than I've ever heard him say before in the makeup room, anticipating his reaction after Revenge, talking about waking up, being excited. What are the thoughts of the players going into this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we came in pretty confident. Like, we know that if we lose a game, we can adapt. Series are more of an endurance race, and you always have to figure out like what's OP given the series and the players that you're playing against. The other thing is like Sheiden is off camera. He's actually very talkative and very funny. So it's just a work in progress to get that out of him on camera. But I hope you guys will keep trying, so yeah.
And channeling that energy into the game for EG to come up with a win here.
Yeah.
We will see. Thank you for joining me. All right, let's go back to the game.
And immediately, these interviews are just always causing first bloods, man. And it's always TSM being responsible. It's another flash shattering strike from Bugi to get the game rolling for TSM, but this time Hauntzer's the one getting paid for it.
Yeah, Secret Agent Bugi. I want to point out, because it was during the entire interview, this whole sequence started with Bugi being first to mid lane and lying in wait in the brush. He slowly waited for Sejuani to pass, tracks all the way up the jungle, follows it into the Baron pit, and then comes around for the surprise. Bugi is just completely mastermind the jungle matchup in this entire series, and now they're going for the dive.
Looking forward again. Shattering Strike doesn't hit, so then he has to use the crash down to get back away from the turret. Revenge nicely sidestepping that one. And now since Bugi doesn't have a flash, he's already used the crash down. He's in serious danger. EG should pick this one up, I would think, for free. As the Aftershock expires, Sheiden and Revenge just need a little bit more damage. The W2 connects, and Revenge hits him with the lamp for the last shot.
Apologies for the curse, my friend. They take down the mastermind. Really good answer with the teleport up there, though, to make sure they can get it. Jojo, not happy about the effects that enemy jungler had in the early game.
Yeah, I think that's just one of those plays when you're Bugi that you know it can work out, but after you miss the Q and you have no flash, it's kind of, you have no escape plan.
Meanwhile,
Insanity on the rotation to bottom. Unforgiven already had to pop both sums trying to get away. Ayla gets hooked! And man, Chime's gone fishing. Nicely done from TSM to pick that one up. But across the map, Sheiden's helping out Revenge again. Hauntzer's got to try to get away from this one. Bugi's ready to back him up. Shattering Strike for the stun, but Revenge has the flash to guarantee the kill. Now Bugi's got to crash down back to the safety of his own jungle. EG's keeping this one competitive.
Definitely an exciting one up on the top side, and they needed that top side kill because Hauntzer had actually been doing a very good job with the CS on Rumble. We saw a lot of the early stages, you know, during the interview. He's getting good trades on Revenge, and he's still going to retain a big, healthy CS lead. So Revenge very happy that he's at least been able to get kill credit on those last couple of kills. He needed that gold catch-up.
Yeah, I think the gold is still not super in favor of TSM. It's gone kind of back and forth, and I think that just kind of shows the early game. It can be a lot of punches back and forth, but it kind of depends on how the matchups play out. So Hauntzer, even though he died, he still had a really good 1v1 matchup, so he's rewarded for that. And then obviously this roam for Insanity was really well timed as well. He kind of came as a surprise, I think, for EG. I don't think they expected this. And then Chime with the beautiful hook as well on Eyla to finish him.
Chime secures the bottom kill. Then we get another look at the top side. We mentioned from draft, as soon as we saw Sejuani, we're like, all right, love it. Top laners with melee top laners, you always want to make use of that stun. Yep. Easy, quickly stacking up the passive, and with the health lead here, even though the Rell arrives, nothing you can do. Jax with another counter strike, and we're back into more.
Back into the mid lane as the equalizer is dropped. Jojo does escape the Spirit Rush enough to get the Evil Genius's mid laner out, but it also did cost the flash, so the Ahri is entirely immobile now.
Yeah, she will get her ult back up for Herald, but having no flash as well is pretty big, because I think Bugi will get his flash back pretty soon as well, since he used it really early in the game. And TSM also with this trade on mid get the Dragon, huge pickup for them. And I think just in general, whoever gets Herald this game will have a lot of pressure advantage. In a 1v1 matchup, I think the Jax outscales the Rumble, but the Rumble is really fine playing in the 1v1, so it's going to be exciting to see who gets the Herald.
Well, just like the first game, it's TSM with an early first Drake, but remember back in game number 1, it was EG at least securing themselves the Herald for the first time. We'll see if TSM is in a good spot to try to challenge for that one with Boogie's flash or something similar like we're talking about. You can see Sheiden moving into the enemy jungle, placing down the ward in anticipation of the second round of the buff spawning, just trying to keep track of Mastermind Bugi.
And with Bugi being so active in this series, they really set the tone for the pace of this series. Even with that topside one getting turned around and a couple of those kills going to Evil Geniuses, TSM still retain a meager gold lead for themselves, as well as still getting the first Dragon to start stacking. And we shall see how it actually transpires on the bottom half, because a little bit deeper of an attempt at getting some vision there, and the hover from Bugi on bottom side to make sure there's no gank.
Yeah, if I'm Bugi though, I have flash, and top side has no flash for Revenge, Sheiden, and Jojopyun. So I think for this Herald, if Chime just moves over and kind of gives some farm up to Unforgiven, I think it's going to be a really good fight for TSM. They have Rumble, Lissandra, Wombo combo, Bugi has flash. I think it's a really solid fight for them here on Herald.
Yeah, I want to see, because look, we just had Jinx recall, and WildTurtle right now is heading back to bottom lane. As far as it goes, he wants to try and catch that extra wave that Unforgiven's pushing right now. So it will be the earlier move option for Unforgiven.
I mean, if I'm TSM here, I think I want to start the fight before Unforgiven comes. When Unforgiven comes, they're going to have a numbers disadvantage, obviously. So yeah, I think Hauntzer is kind of caught here in the middle. If Bugi can help him out, that would be huge, but it looks like he's caught.
Ayla's gone in though, a nice hook right back onto the EG support as he has to disengage, and Magnet Storm pulls back in the Geniuses. Equalizer over the top means Sheiden is very low. Nobody from either side
Jinx
dies.
Rockets,
the Jinx Rockets coming in, but it's not gonna hit Eyla. Man, that one had to be so close.
But EG now is really low, and WildTurtle is just pushing down on bot lane here. So if I'm Turtle, I just stick down bot lane and get some plates for myself. And even though EG might get this Herald, they're going to lose so much tempo on the map on bot side.
Evil Genius is not contested at this Herald any longer. TSM yielding that one in favor of Turtle, just getting money down here in bottom lane. Second plate falls. He's got the minigun to try to take down the third one, just clear out the minions ASAP. These caster minions, I don't believe, will die before they get reinforced, so Turtle won't even have to leave the range of the turret. Maybe just not going to get that third plate instead. Okay, going to take the opportunity, get the recall, go for the purchase.
So you see there, Turtle ends up positive in gold with the kill, with the extra money here acquired on bottom side, just staying put. Has the small lead over Unforgiven. Meanwhile, Jojo was able to actually push in the top lane minion wave after that fight too. So he denied a cannon wave that was up there before Hauntzer was able to get back. So at least a little bit of that loss mitigation happening.
Yeah, but for EG as well, with the Herald in hand and Revenge being the main carry in this game, I think it's just really important that TSM now defend properly on top side and don't let Hauntzer die again and kind of give plates over to Revenge, because if Revenge gets a few plates and gets ahead of gold of the Rumble, it's going to be tricky for them.
Revenge getting ahead of gold versus Rumble is going to be tough though when he's only got 53 CS. He's at the same level of the junglers. His economy is suffering from the farm that he's been choked away from.
Yeah, he's about 200 gold down now after we take into account the kills that he's gotten. And maybe if you get, some more help from the Rift Herald plates, they can start to fund that Jax, because guess what? That's one of the places that EG were most confident in. You heard the interview with Jojo before the series started. He was like, yeah, we know how to take advantage and exploit Haunter. Now they're going mid though.
Insanity getting locked down here, has to self-ult to buy a little bit more time. Bugi wants to follow it up. Insanity with a flash back underneath his own tier 1 turret, and Hauntzer's ready to come join these guys. Crash down into the Magnet Storm. Long range equalizer ready to turn this fight around as Sheiden and Jojo try to get away. But Hauntzer's got the flash. Evil geniuses disengage it too, and now they're ready to re-engage with the Jax copter. He runs in to try to get the stun, but he misses it. Revenge with a minor outplay is now going to find the killing spree, but instead it gets turned around by TSM. They'll come out on top in a 2-for-1.
Yeah, Revenge had a huge play there. If he hit that helicopter and then the ult on top, that would have been a huge wombo combo. But after missing that and then the Jinx rocket coming in, that was clutch.
Yeah, that was so close there. Fraction of a second. And Turtle's just been throwing out the skill shots from bottom side. This rocket actually doing a decent amount of damage and getting them a little bit more. Let's take another look at how it started though, because it was off of this roam from Hauntzer, trying to get some use from the Rumble ultimate. A little bit slow on it, so they didn't get the full damage, but then the flash forward chunks out Sheiden, chunks out Jojo.
Yeah, the taunt from what's he called, Jojopyun was really cute there as well to save Sheiden, and then with the Revenge miss on the E there, it would have been huge, but instead he just trades one on Bugi, and then they both die in the end, so that's a pretty big play for TSM as well, because they're playing against Herald. If you can kind of fight even against Herald, you're winning, because EG won't find a super big window to use the Herald properly on.
Plus 1,500 gold now, just about 12 minutes into the game. Second Drake is live because TSM took that first one so early. We'll see if we have a lot of attention immediately paid to it. Insanity's got the wave shoved out in mid. Lissandra, once she hits level 9, the wave clear is just so effective, splashing those icicles onto the entire wave as Turtle makes it down back to bottom in time to catch all the minions crashing into the tier 1. And you can see the Evil Genius's bot lane rotating over to the Dragon Pit, rotating over to this bot side river. Jojo's also come down. They want to have control here, not just give this Drake away.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to use the Herald mid, because it's gonna time out pretty soon. We're getting kind of close to 14 minutes too. So drop it mid with Jojo, get some turret plate money on him. You need to make up ground there now, because we mentioned mid jungle this whole time. Mid lane right now is actually the biggest difference. Pre-Rift Herald charge, Insanity's got about 1,000 gold lead. Now with the extra split money on those turret plates, extra wave in, they try and help out Jojo a little bit. And Scuttle Crab Vision will be acquired by EG pre-Dragon. A charm does land.
Okay, Insanity, 3/4 HP, ready to go back in on Sheiden though. Bugi leads the charge, not finding a very valuable target here at the start, but Magnet Storm keeps him in the equalizer. They want to turn it around back onto Insanity as a nice Thresh hook on Unforgiven on the other side hits, but it's a shutdown for Revenge on the enemy mid. Insanity's out of the picture. Unforgiven dies to Turtle, but it's a 2-for-1 trade for the geniuses. Revenge still has a full health bar, but he ain't slowing down. The play won't matter. A double kill back over to Jojo. He'll see if he can find some more. Turtle and Hauntzer trying to kite it out, fight it out, but it won't work, man. Revenge and Jojo are finding the damage, and Jojo just lost all 5 men.
And the flash at the end there. Oh my goodness. Revenge playing on the edge of a knife with that Jax. Went back in, got just out of range. Turtle wanted it so badly, but can't get the auto off.
I think the target selection here from TSM was a bit off. I think going on Sheiden is the wrong call here. They're very split and they don't have any damage to follow up. And you can see TSM, Hauntzer, Chime, WildTurtle, they have no one to hit. They're just running away. And the entire time that's happening, Revenge and Jojopyun is going to town.
Yeah, so much work done by them. Turtle does snipe the kill onto Unforgiven. That's a good thing about Jinx into Xayah. Of course, you can always throw out your Jinx ultimate after the Xayah ults, but that was the only little bit of happiness for this squad, because look at this play. Able to get the stun onto the Rumble first, and Revenge still right up. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that shield from Eyla as well saved them. Quadra killer for Jojopyun.
So about that mid deficit for EG, that has turned into quite the lead now. The other way, 800 gold for Jojo and the advantage. A quadra kill will do that for you. A lot of work done by those EG solo laners.
And hey, the big thing I'm looking at here, the Lissandra not having any sort of meaningful impact in that fight, really. Unfortunate for TSM, but Evil Geniuses now in a great spot. They stop any sort of Drake stacking, tie up that objective count. They're plus 2,000 gold. The Rift Herald's about to spawn for the second time, and I think that these guys are going to feel confident in their ability to take a fight.
Yeah, I think for TSM it doesn't really work for them to just scale up this game. They're playing against Ahri, Jax, and Xayah, who all scale really well, and I think they need to find a lot of wombo combos to win this game. If they kill one target, it's not enough for EG. They have too many carries, so for this Rift Herald fight, we need to see TSM go for the big wombo combo.
Sheiden engaging onto Hauntzer immediately as Jojo's in the middle of the fight, but he's going to be careful. Unforgiven still free firing on the side, and Hauntzer's already been killed. Into the back goes Eyla with a nice knockup 1-2. TSM are already crushed, and EG aren't done. Turtle tries to kite it out, but he can't get excited. A triple kill of a revenge as Jojo goes over the wall and Chime hooks a wolf. EG got another ace for nothing.
TSM just look completely discombobulated now. They're stuck in the middle of the river while the collapse from EG is coming. And if you're the ones relying on a teleport, you have to be the ones proactively teleporting early. But look at this, how late the teleport comes in from the Lissandra. Boom, the engage from EG is already underway. And it's almost first kill before the Lissandra even arrives. Hauntzer is dead on arrival there from the Lissandra. There's no way you're making your way back into this team fight.
Yeah, but EG also walked in and engaged first, right? Even though TSM had the control, I don't think that's allowed to happen. TSM has to pull the trigger faster with TP and kind of send it, or else it'll get collapsed. And now there was a quadra kill for mid lane. Now there's a quadra kill on top lane. 8 kills on Revenge right now. That's a bit crazy.
Yeah, I don't think he cares about that CS deficit anymore. He's just farming champions, man. The Jax is locked and loaded. 13-5 for EG as a team. 5,500 gold leads 16 minutes into the game. These are the kinds of gold leads you see in those stompy solo queue games, man. These are the ones where you're feeling like, we'll just have to go next. It's feeling so doomed for TSM right now.
Yeah, and you can see the confidence that EG had after the previous team fight. That's why they just run straight in, they engage while the teleport is channeling, get such a lead in there, and it's nice to see for a player like Revenge, where people for so long were like, oh man, he's really good, but hasn't had the right opportunity to fully shine, but having a good playoffs game here for himself.
Yeah, now EG is playing with 3 lanes of prio, they have Herald, and they outscale. So for TSM, I think the best that they can do is just kind of farm up and wait for an objective fight and hope that EG kind of messes up, because in a 5v5 situation right now, EG is stronger and they win on side lane. So for TSM, yeah, they just kind of have to pray on this one.
Well, maybe they can drag the game out long enough to get a Jinx moment in a team fight, but aside from crossing your fingers and hoping for that, it just seems like EG's got this second game all figured out. Second items coming online in a couple of different places here. You can see the first one, the Banshee's Veil for Jojo in the mid lane, compared to just a stopwatch for Insanity. Very powerful active, but an entire item behind in terms of what's in the inventories right now. That's tough stuff. Rift Herald summoned up here in the top lane. They'll knock down that turret. Second turret of the game here for EG, and there's nothing TSM can do about it. Oh my goodness, they already found him. Sheiden just leads the way, and Eyla's spotted the quickness to try to follow it up. A nice hook from Chime brings him back underneath the turret, and TSM may have found an angle for a fight. The Herald's not going to get the charge off onto the tier 2, but EG disengage, having only lost their support.
You have to be ready to counter when you're so far behind like this, like you're saying. And they make a really big play right here, actually, to get themselves some gold back into it. That does chip away a little bit. Not only, yes, the kill gold, but really the pressure too, because EG would have been able to keep up their 4-1 split push really easily with Jojo on bottom here. So nice little bit of relief for TSM.
Yeah, it feels good to get some relief, but now Dragon is spawning and it's kind of on to the next
like,
play already.
Oh, another test already!
Yeah, now you have to fight the 8-1 Jax and the 4-1 Ahri, so I think if I'm TSM, just give this one up, right? You don't have ultimates, you can't really fight it. It's going to be a hard one to fight anyway, so I think you just kind of have to wait for the Dragon Soul point and fight there or on the Baron. Other than that, you just kind of wait for EG to make mistakes.
And back to what you were talking about earlier, Treatz, you were saying how, you can't just blow up one guy, there's too many carries, right? Well, the second item for Revenge here with the Sterix Gauge, trying to prevent dying in that potential wombo combo from TSM. I like this itemization because it makes it so difficult to stop his rampages in these fights.
Yeah, and if they don't find this reset with Lissandra and Jinx, I think it's really hard to kind of get a grasp of the team fight on the side of TSM. So the wombo combo is getting harder. The more items come in, the more tanky that EG gets, it's going to get harder and harder.
Nice little efficiency buff to Sterix on the patch as well. Got more health, got a nice little advantage there. Let's see, though, because Sejuani actually doesn't have a lot of magic damage herself. It's just coming from like bombies, but went for the Abyssal to amp for Jojo.
Jojo
like,
MVP race.
He's like, yep, everything they can do to add to that.
It amps for Jojo and also Revenge having some magic damage in the base kit of Jax too. I mean, more than most bruisers do at least.
It's
so
a lot of magic damage, yeah.
Providing some help for both of those super fed carries. I mean, when we're talking about EG and the way that the gold is currently distributed, 12 out of the 13 kills are Jojo and Revenge. So making sure that he can ramp up for those guys seems good enough for me. Total gold on the left side, it's Revenge leading the gold count by about 70. But it's over his own mid laner, so they're pretty cool with that.
Yeah, definitely a duo carry composition they're running here for Evil Geniuses, which makes it really easy to play side lanes. And you have to think, well, easily go 1-3-1, Revenge on top side. They've got both teleports ready. Both their solo laners have such big advantages. They can pressure on both side lanes while just holding middle here. And now you see Sheiden and Eyla being able to move in from the mid lane pressure. So nice little map control here from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, they're taking good space here on the top side. And if I'm on the TSM side, I'm trying to think right now, who can we focus, right? You can't really kill the Jax, he's too tanky. Sejuani has Aftershock. There's an Ahri with the Banshees, and then there's a Xayah with both Sums and ulti, right? So it's kind of like Rakan is your target, but he also has Merc Treatz, and EG are on the Baron right now, so we'll see what TSM can do to counter this one.
TSM need to try to stop it. Maybe Bugi can go in for the Miracle Steal, the crash down, but it won't find it. The engage locks him down, but where's the follow-up damage? Unforgiven staying alive, as Jojo can turn it right back around. Both enemy carries already dead. Bugi and Chime and Hauntzer running back to the mid lane, but Revenge don't want to let him. He's going to keep the chase up. Bugi's still in range. Sheiden and Eyla still ready to follow these guys too all the way in. Bugi tries to crash down to escape, but they get the kill anyway. Jojo is dominating, and Evil Geniuses are making mincemeat out of TSM.
Yeah, I think also like EG just control top side. They know they're ahead. Just start the Baron, right? Like, what's the worst that could happen? I think that they know that they're this far ahead that they can kind of just pull the trigger and force a fight and the Baron. So I like this from EG coming back from the game one, having this much confidence.
I always find those moments so funny because you're like, what's the worst that can happen? Well, we almost saw what the worst that could happen would be a Baron steal. He did get in there, and because it turned out, oh, you know what? It's fine. EG, they get the Baron. Nobody's critiquing. But if that was a steal right there from Bugi, I think people would have a lot more critiques as far as the setup from EG and say, oh, you're kicking yourselves. You gave them an option to come back into this game, but they secure the Baron and they get the chase out on these extra kills here too. So now the game plan's super easy. Push it right back out. You already had stronger split pushers for side lanes. Now you also have Baron to help them out. So here comes the siege on all sides.
Yeah, the only question I have is how many lanes does EG want to play on? How risky do they want to play it? If they spread out on 3 lanes, it's possible that they can get picked off on 1. I think the safest one is just playing 2 lanes and kind of having Jojopyun between top and mid and kind of just hovering in between and seeing if someone is in pick range. So if I'm EG, I'm going to bot side here with Unforgiving hitting the bot tower, and then Revenge on top, and then Jojopyun on mid, and then just look for whichever side is more vulnerable.
Yeah, talking to a couple top laners especially right now, they just feel like, as we see a little exchange in the jungle, a lot of the players are of the opinion that it's super rare to actually be in a place to ever play all 3 lanes, even when you do have split pushers, because there are so many comeback mechanics. You know, objective bounties, of course, are up. So if the enemy team just full sends it at one of your sides and gets a picks and then could maybe snowball that into an objective bounty shutdown or something, that's how comebacks happen.
And it's just really hard for TSM to engage on either side right now. They do have to send it on one side or they will just lose 2 inhibs, but they also just don't have a good target to go on. So I think if EG just plays patient here and don't give an angle, they will just get both double inhibs shortly.
Nice hook, going to Revenge. He's the one going to get focused first, but he gets the counter-strike down. Equalizer over the top. Now means Evil Genius is going to be burned a little bit, but there's just no damage from TSM to get him any lower. Evil Genius has absorbed the engage. They still have plenty of health left. They're going to force him to the tier 3. Hauntzer flashes away to barely survive. Stun him to Unforgiven. They shut him down, and Turtle's getting excited. Eyla and Jojo and Sheiden are all on their own, but Turtle's ready to keep it going. Revenge wants to turn it around, but he doesn't have the damage just yet. He goes godlike, and now Turtle is gone. Revenge has found his moment, and a triple kill to go with it. Hauntzer trying to pick up any of these guys, but the Rumble ain't gonna get it done alone. The turret is about to fall. They'll force it down, and EG still win the fight.
The Jax, the true carry for Evil Geniuses here. What a scrappy fight. They're still going to get the inhibitor, though. Their goal has been accomplished.
Yeah, I think that was pretty slow reaction time from Unforgiven. I'm going to call him out there. I think he could have ulted that flash ult from Lissandra. He has the mechanics for it, but he didn't do it, and then it kind of started the snowball there for Turtle. So, I mean, everything is just about mindset in League, right? And I think for EG, if they think about only surviving, they will win this push. But I think they were a bit too aggressive and kind of going under the tower, which led this TSM engage to be pretty fruitful. So Jax with a kind of insane cleanup there, but EG going a bit too aggressive, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jojo went for that charm on the Hauntzer, but you see the Rumble barely got away, and Jojo had gone under tower, so much damage taken. Then they're fighting with the low health bars, but as you say, that Xayah pops, no reaction there, so once that extra carry is down, there's a little bit of hope for TSM until Revenge just starts to clean up.
Yeah, I think he's probably on almost 4 items now, right? Yeah, he has a Spear of Shodan as well, so his teamfight's going to be insane.
He's living the top lane dream as Bugi here tries to escape and does flash away. This is the most kills for a top laner, all split long. Well done, Revenge. For all top laners, he's got the full bounty as well, maxed out. 12 kills for himself. He will be 1,000 gold shutdown if TSM can acquire that, but that's going to be a hard one to kill.
Yeah, he's probably going to get a few more kills as well, right? I don't think it's going to stop at 12. He's
Push that record.
Yeah, he's going to go for, I would guess he would go for 16 probably. I think it's probably going to be one more Dragon, a Baron, and then probably the end for EG here. They're still firmly in control, right? I think they kind of fumbled this Baron, but it doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, he's making full use of the buffs on the Shojin and on the Sterix here. So flexing the Jax as we wait for the next spawn. 50-ish seconds left on the next Baron.
TSM have such a difficult task. Even going into their own jungle and trying to get some vision down is dangerous, because if EG's waiting, 12,000 gold is the point of the game where you are just going to get smacked. As Bugi goes for the crash down here, smite under Revenge to slow him down a bit. Chime can reinforce. Nice use of the hook. Revenge doesn't have a lot of mana to fight with. They really want to try to force this, but now Turtle's in the middle of everybody, and Evil Geniuses has reinforced their top laner. It's a 1-for-1 trade here with a start, but TSM's got to run. Sheiden comes in over the side to lock down Insanity, who tries to take the claw away, but Jojo will not allow it. Evil Geniuses. It looked like it might have started out with a pick on Revenge, but they turn it right back around on its head, and Unforgiven picks Insanity.
I think that was a good play by TSM, though. That's kind of all they can look for, right? I think.
Yeah, they got the shutdown.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, and he still has a 400 gold shutdown.
Yeah, the wanted poster, they got the shutdown. It did go to Rell, I believe. Bugi got the last hit on it.
Little unlucky.
So that's not going to help out with the DPS endeavors, but maybe get a bit more tanky. And it looks like off of that chase down of a bunch of extra kills, Evil Geniuses will just rotate on over to Baron. And guess what? The person that TSM did kill happens to be the person that also has teleport, so EG should be able to wrap this one up.
Yeah, this one looks like a wrap on the Baron here. But Jojo, he's cosplaying Revenge right now. They're gonna go on the Jojopyun instead.
Is he gonna teleport in now to save Jojo too? Nah, just hold the way.
He's playing Ahri. He's fine.
He's cool with it, man. It only takes 2 players from EG to secure that Baron anyway. Just Sejuani to tank it, and then Xayah for the DPS. Baron goes over to EG, nearly 13,000 gold lead. I mean, they could wait and just try to use the Baron to control the map, get the soul, wait for the next Baron, but I'm honestly hoping that with a 13K lead, they just sort of hard force the end of this.
All right, everybody play for getting more kills onto Revenge so that top laners can't complain anymore. We are like, look,
OP roll.
this top laner's got 20 kills in a playoffs game. They're fine.
He's really strong right now, and as you said, Captain Flowers, I think you just go topside right now if you're EG and try to end this game. You have big enough a goal lead to die right now. I think that if they do the same play that they did on the mid lane, but on top lane instead, it's gonna work out. So just stack a wave on topside, and then
Look, they're sending 4, the Goon Squad, down to Rome to try and pick off the second bounty from Jax.
I think this time he's not gonna die though. He has mana and he has a stopwatch, so I think even if you send 4, it's a bit tricky.
That's tough. I mean, they only barely got him last time, and he had, what, 50 mana to work with? So Evil Genius is putting the pressure on the tier 3 here on the top side. Insanity threw out the claw, but did not want to take that ticket. Figured it would just be one way. Evil Geniuses have the next wave coming in now to back him up as they lead off with Shaiden's engage. The charm onto Chime locks him down, and Eyla goes golden to stop any sort of a counterattack. Shaiden doing the same thing now. Jojo gets locked up. Bit of a problem here for EG so far, but Revenge arrives and fixes everything real quick. Revenge gets a triple. Revenge gets a quadra. Where's that penta-kill for Jax? Somebody sound off.
Give it to him.
He won't give it to him. EG's got to chase it down. Revenge! Penta-kill for Jax! Boom! Evil Geniuses ended in style.
That's 18 for Revenge on the Jax with a pentakill. Top lane.
It's not balanced.
Top lane broken roll, boys. 27-9. EG bounces back.
Woo! Well then, this series already is really delivering for me, though. I like that the underdogs set the pace in game number 1. TSM came out super aggressive, and now EG answering. They woke up, they're like, you know what? Whoa, 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 whoa. We can play this pace as well. They answer a lot of the early moves, and then the solo laners absolutely take over.